What's going on, guys? Jasper Chase here, back with another motovlog. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk about the things that I don't like about my RS660, so stay tuned. So this is my 2022 Aprilia RS660 Limited Stars and Stripes Edition. I absolutely love this bike. I've owned it for almost a year now, and I really haven't had much problems with it other than what I'm going to talk about today. This may actually convince you otherwise to buy the bike. So stay tuned to the end. If you guys like this kind of content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. So let's get on the road. So I have a little bit of OCD, and unfortunately with this windscreen, it's got this little notch here, and it's not over on this side. And for the longest time I was wondering why in the world would they do that, until I posted the RS660 bike review, and a lot of you clarified that for me, and it's for the cruise control, which, okay, I get. I kind of feel like it was a last minute design flaw, if you will. I think they should have put it on both sides, or figure out another way to cover the clearance of the cruise control. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how they make these things. People with way bigger salaries than I have come up with these ideas. So, I don't know. It is what it is. I've slowly gotten used to it, but it's still there, and I know it's there. You know, another gripe that I have about this bike is the swing arm. On the right side, you can see that my boot has been scratching up against the swing arm, and it keeps leaving marks. I've tried to get them off, I've tried degreaser, I've tried goop off, all this stuff, and it doesn't work. So I have no idea how to get it off. Now, I have been told that you can buy heel guards for it, but I have not been able to find them on Aprilia's website or the internet really in general, even Amazon. I can't find it anywhere. So if you guys at home watching this video know where I could get one, please send me a comment or a private message, because it's driving me insane. I want a nice, clean bike, and unfortunately, I'm just not getting it with the way the bike is set up right now. Okay, so I'm slowing down for a second because I want you guys to experience the power. Okay, so unfortunately it does not have that much low-end torque. We're in first gear, right? We're in second gear, 23 miles an hour, and we're gonna romp on it. See, as you do that, as you accelerate full throttle, it bogs down, and for whatever reason won't start accelerating quickly until you get to about 6,000 or 7,000 RPMs. Now, alright, let me get out of this turn. Alright, so I'm going to show you a high end. Alright, we're at 6,000, and we're going to romp on it. Okay, so even then, at 6,000, it's still kind of lagged. I'm not really sure. Maybe I just need to tune it or get an exhaust for it or some headers. I don't know. Maybe a new map. It's got 3 different maps on it, and right now I'm in individual mode, which I set all the different settings. The tech center is pretty cool on this bike. You've got 5 different maps, so I use the kind of middle range map because I don't necessarily want to wheelie all the time, and on time attack mode it doesn't show the speedometer, so there's no reason for me to do that. Oh, by the way, I'm actually using a new microphone setup. I noticed that the last few videos that I've had, the wind unfortunately was overbearing and you couldn't really hear what I was saying, especially on the Mr. Beast video, which I really wanted that video to go viral, but unfortunately it didn't. But what I said in the video is still amazingly true. The guy is awesome, but again, I noticed some wind noise in there, so I'm trying out something new. So if you guys like it, go ahead and let me know in the comments, or if it doesn't sound good, then let me know in the comments how I can fix it. You know, something else that really bothers me about this motorcycle is the fact that on the tank, they did not clear coat over the decals. They're just stuck on there. And if you notice on this side, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got 2 scratches and it's peeling off that decal now. So I'd have to get a brand new decal to get rid of that. Now I'll have to buff out the scratches, of course. I don't know how the scratches got there, but they're there. And I've got some stains on the clear coat that won't come off. I've tried degreaser and goof off and all that stuff, but it's not working. So I don't know what to do about it. It really sucks that I've got to scratch my bike and the decals all messed up. Also on the tail, I was getting on and off the bike with my jeans on, and I guess it kind of scraped off the decal. So again, it's not clear coated. The decals are not clear coated. I absolutely hate that. I've never had a bike where the decals were above the clear coat. So I know it sounds stupid and small, but for me, that's a pretty big deal. But that pales in comparison to the mirrors. The mirrors are garbage. They're just plain garbage. I've seen all kinds of different comments about people not liking these mirrors. What happens is when you get to, I don't know, maybe 60 miles an hour and faster, they just start vibrating to the point where you can't see anything. Which, I mean, that defeats the whole purpose of the mirrors. Like, if you're on the highway, you're not going 50 miles an hour, you're going 70, 75, 80, and some places, you know, faster than that, but you can't see out of the mirrors. I don't know what they were thinking. Usually, like with every other bike I've owned, they've had rubber dampeners to, you know, stifle the vibration, but this bike does not have that at all. So it's really annoying. The only thing I do like about the mirrors is the blinker indicators are on the actual mirror, which some people like, some people don't like. I personally really like it. It's up high, it's very visible, so overall the mirrors are good, but man, that vibration is just a killer. Okay, so let's talk suspension. Now, for me, I'm a little bit on the heavier side right now. I'm at 250. Now, I was at 305. I'm getting down to my goal weight of 210, but right now, this bike is not built for me. The suspension is not set up for my body type. And it's really bouncy and vibrates a lot. Like on this road right now, you can't tell on camera, but it's a really bumpy road, and you know, I'm getting hit pretty hard with it. If I had to do this for long-term riding, you know, I would get pretty tired. My butt would start hurting. But anyways, the only way to get that fixed is for you to have to pay somebody an enormous amount of money to get it calibrated to your body type, and honestly, I just don't have the money to do that. So let's talk lack of service places. This is a big one for me. I have an Aprilia. There are no Aprilia dealerships anywhere near Augusta. The closest one is 150 miles away in Savannah. Or I could go to Knoxville, or Charlotte, or Tampa. These places are way too far away. And to top it all off, the dealership that I did go to in Knoxville was obnoxious. You see what I did there? No, seriously, I had the worst buying experience ever there, and I already talked about it in another video, but long story short, I get there, my salesperson wasn't there, some other salesperson was supposed to help me out, but she just threw my paperwork in front of me. I literally didn't have an office to sign my paperwork, and I stood next to the reception desk. They gave me no info on how to adjust any of the tech stuff on the dash. They didn't do anything. I was just a number to them. There was no pleasantries, there was no thank yous, nothing like that. Buying parts for this thing is a painful experience, to say the least. I mean, first off, Aprilia's website does not offer you a lot of ability to purchase parts. And then, of course, you could go to the dealerships. If you could find one and drive 100 plus miles away, then you could get your parts. But, you know, I can't do that. Again, I'm 150 miles away from Savannah, so, I mean, the only way I can do it is online, and you can't buy parts online. It's ridiculously difficult. So again, if you guys know of a way to buy stuff online for Aprilia, go ahead and put a comment down below. I'd really appreciate it. One of the first issues that I encountered with this bike is the rear brake squealing. If you tapped on it, it would squeal. If you hit it really hard, it would squeal. And it was a brand new bike. Unfortunately, with the experience, you know, that I had, I didn't want to bother them to get more bad service and for them to just say, oh, don't worry about it. It took over 6 months for me to get to a dealership, or a not a dealership, but a mechanic shop, for them to do my service. And I mentioned it to them. I said, hey, my rear brake's squealing, can you take a look at it? So they did. There was nothing wrong with the brake pad or the rotor. Absolutely nothing wrong. It was just, I'm assuming, cheap brake pads that they might have put on there. I mean, they got Brembo calipers, so I don't know. But the mechanic just slammed on the brakes a bunch of times until the squeal went away, which, I mean, I guess that's one way to do it. That's not really professional. And when he told me that, I was like, why are you abusing my bike like that? But I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. So another major inconvenience is if you decide to do the work yourself on this motorcycle, you have to go to the dealership or a mechanic to have the maintenance code taken off. Like, let's say you do your oil change. You change the oil, you change the filter, and you go to your little tech center dashboard there, and there's no way for you to get rid of that icon. You have to go to a dealership. I'm assuming they put an OBD2 sensor on it and wipe the code. So overall, the bike is great. Don't get me wrong. If you want to go buy an Aprilia RS660, I do recommend that you buy one, especially if you're starting out. It's a great starter bike because of that low end torque. It's not going to jerk you off of the seat. For me, as a seasoned rider, I've been riding for about 16 years, and I have found over the last 9 months or 10 months or how long I've owned it, I've noticed that the power, it's kind of boring. You really have to romp on this thing to get it to go quickly, like where you get that adrenaline rush. I mean, like with my R1, I could look at the throttle and it would loop the bike and throw me off the seat. But this one doesn't do that. So it's great for a beginner bike if you're responsible enough to handle the power and the higher RPMs. It's extremely comfortable. I've already taken it on a road trip. I drove all the way to Jacksonville and back, which was a 10-hour round trip, and you know, I took brakes when I had to fill up my tank. I mean, I really didn't need any brakes. So it's a great bike. I really love it. It's probably my favorite bike that I've ever owned. There's just a bunch of little tiny things that bother me about it, but you're gonna find that with any bike. Everybody's gonna have their own assumptions as to what the bike is supposed to do for you, but overall, you can't go wrong with this bike. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. You guys keep doing what you're doing. I'm out.